If you wish, this can be one of the course projects. This is a real life problem, na, which we are experiencing.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Mhm.
Okay. So what I noticed when I was interacting with those of you who joined the office hours this week. So thankfully, because you were pushed, a few of you joined the office hours this week. So what I noticed was that quite a few of us, while we are working on algorithms and flows, we have not really converted them into static systems for our function model analysis. For example, Ayush, was it you or someone else where we discussed the flow chart and we said this has to be, or it was Aditya, I don't know. Who was it?
No, sir, it wasn't me.
Yeah, so we discussed that we were looking at a flow and there was no semblance of what do we call as harmful function or stuff like that. So many people, when I was looking at your assignments, had not, at least till then, uh, clearly defined the boundary of system and super system. I noticed that quite a few of you were working on dynamic systems, which everywhere we have dynamic systems, and there are changes that happen. In fact, even the paint filling thing was a dynamic system, is it not? The paint filling problem that we looked at for the trimming case, that was also a dynamic system. But what did we do when we start to make its function diagram? When we started to make its function diagram, we uh, took a snapshot of this dynamic system at an instant where there was a problem. Do you remember that? What was the problem in that system? The paint filling system?
So that the paint would dried up on that floating device and it was not able to function properly because of that.
Yes, that the paint would kind of stick onto the float and therefore the float would not function properly and paint would overflow. So we now, if you look at it, this was a flow, that the float would go up and then the switch would go off, then the pump would go off, then the motor would go off, so it was a flow, it was a series of steps, but it was a snapshot was taken at a time instant when there was a problem in the system. And it was then that harmful functions were identified, that the trimming was done. I noticed that if quite a few of you were not really taking a snapshot of a flow. You were still looking at it as a algorithm or a flow or a process. This then would lead to you being kind of flummoxed by how to solve the problem. In fact, many times you may not even be able to identify a problem. ऐसा हुआ है आप लोगों के साथ? Has this happened with any one of you?
So yes, identifying a problem sometimes like poses a difficult task.
So what you need to do over there is you need to take a snapshot of the system at the time when the problem occurred. Or when the problem occurs, the problem that you want to improve occurs, it is at that time that you need to take a snapshot. Now, just so that you do not end up trimming those things which are useful, with those functions which are useful, you will then need to overlay this first snapshot with another snapshot, which would be about the useful function of the system. Are you getting me? So we take one snapshot of the system when there was a problem. It might happen that it may not represent all the useful functions that the system performs because the problem could appear in only one of the modes. So you overlay it with the other mode where the system was performing other useful functions, so that when you start to do the function analysis and trimming there, you do not end up removing a useful component. Or even if you need to remove a useful component or a component doing a useful function, you reassign that useful function to some other component in the engineering system. Is this thing clear?
Sir, I have a doubt. When we take snapshot and deal with the static system, when we take it to physical contradiction and apply the inventive principles there, we won't be able to apply the separation in time, right?
So
Because
yeah, that is where you have to see that. So this thing you will have to do mentally. So we will cover some part of it most probably in the next class. So okay, let me give you a glimpse of what we do today. Today we will look at handling flows and doing trimming there. So usually this is not taught in a introductory level course on TRIZ. This is taught in a slightly more advanced level course of TRIZ. But since a lot of us are computer engineers, a lot of us work with flows day in and day out, whether that flow is of information or of materials, logistics, supply chain. And additionally, this is an entrepreneurship track. And I understand that some of you, or I wish that some of you would take up a startup or something like that. So you will have to define flows of how things would move in your organization. And therefore, I and Nitin discussed, and we thought that we should, introduce flows, and that is algorithms and trimming of flows with you, and not just snapshots. So once we do that, that would be one input where you will handle flows more effectively. But even then, in my personal experience, snapshots are a very, very good way of radical trimming and arriving at neat solutions. Another thing that we agreed to discuss with you, which again is not taught in the introductory level course, is introduce you to what we call as ARIS. ARIS is an algorithm of inventive problem solving. So TRIZ is theory of inventive problem solving. ARIS is algorithm of inventive problem solving. This again, so what ARIS does is it kind of organizes all the different tools that we have studied. See, we have looked at so many tools of TRIZ, from cause effect chain analysis to function modeling to now we will look at flow analysis today. We looked at inventive principles, we looked at physical contradictions, technical contradictions, standard solutions, so many things we have looked at. So in which sequence should you use them? Now we have looked them in a particular sequence, which is largely logical, but could there be a way that you can formulate physical contradictions easier? Could there be a way that you could formulate technical contradictions in an easier manner? Is there a way to identify quickly if there is a overlap in time and space, so that separation in time and space can or cannot be applied, and so on? ARIS has a very powerful step in it where we also identify resources. So in one of our discussions in the office hours, so the office hours recording is already available to you, and I hope and I assume that you guys have seen that recording. So because what we discuss in office hours is usually over and above what we are discussing in classes. That is why I share that recording also. So what I noticed was that many of you, just because there was this phrase in the template as to what was the like, why did you identify this function? What was the clause, or what was written in the patent due to which you are able to identify this function? Just because there was this one column there, I noticed that quite a few of you have limited your function search or resource search to only things which are referenced in the patent. That was never the intent. See, when we picked up the first sessions in creativity, what did we say? That we should not limit ourselves when we are thinking of creativity. We should look at all the possible resources. We looked at different dimensions of creativity, where it was what is clearly mentioned that being able to go to different levels of abstraction, being able to utilize resources, change parameters is key and important when we apply creativity methods. So to limit you was never the intent. The intent was only that if you, when you are identifying those patterns, are able to sense something, then it will make reading patents and making functional diagrams easier for you later. That was the only intent. But somehow you guys started limiting yourselves. So in ARIS, there is a specific step where in one step, we identify all the resources, available resources in the system, super system, microsystem, so that we get hints of which location or which hierarchy to apply solutions at, or find solutions, search for solutions at. You remember the 9 screens method that we talked about, where we talked about system, super system, and microsystem, and now, past, and future. The 9 screens method that we talked about. This was amongst the last creativity methods. Hello. So TRIZ or ARIS would effectively utilize that 9 screens method to identify resources in all the 9 screens, and then we would be able to come up with more cheap solutions. So ARIS is extremely powerful, where we look at all the available resources so that we can find an ideal solution. And what is an ideal solution? Ideal final result, where the system is modified minimally, no increase in cost, and the problem is solved. So I look at that paint filling problem. The system was modified. In fact, things were removed. So the cost was significantly reduced and the problem was solved. That is an ideal final result. Okay. So ARIS tries to organize these tools and asks us a few questions so that our psychological inertia is broken and we are able to quickly arrive at a good answer, a good solution. So while ARIS is almost nowhere taught in an introductory level course, we will give you a quick introduction to ARIS. We will not discuss it in much detail, but I will introduce you to it in the next class so that you can utilize it for your projects. Okay. And additionally, from today onwards, the breakout rooms that we will go to breakout rooms with the same participants as our project team, and we will work on our project, the second project. Okay. So I, Nitin, Anupam, all of us will interact with you, help you identify any weaknesses in your analysis. And the intent is that you should be able to come up with a good solution towards the end of the course. Before, like in the last lecture, we will have the project presentations. So that is the intent there. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today we will look at what is called as flow analysis. Flow analysis is a part of problem identification stage. So you remember in the problem identification stage, we looked at things like feature transfer, 9 screens method we have seen, function analysis we have already done, cause effect chain analysis we have done, trimming we have done. Today we will look at flow analysis, and next class we'll look at evolutionary trend analysis also. Okay, so in a quick introduction to evolutionary trend analysis, not really the entire trend analysis, but a quick introduction to that. Okay, so that when you go into your startup or when you go into your product development, you can see which stage your product is in, and you can arrive at interesting solutions which could be relevant to the market also. Okay, so let's start with this question. What is a flow? So flow analysis is function analysis for processes. Till now we've done function analysis for products. So flow analysis is function analysis for processes. And what is a process? It is a sequence of actions or operations on material objects. And now this is the classical definition of processes as mentioned in TRIZ. But as time has evolved and as software industry has gained so much of prominence in our day-to-day life, what has also happened is that flow analysis is also very commonly used for information, data, and algorithms. So flow analysis is a very neat way to assess your algorithms, to assess your human-computer interaction flows, and so on. So wherever there is a sequence of events involved, wherever there is a process involved, you can always apply flow analysis. Is that okay?
So then the algorithms, the patents on algorithms type, so they will come under the like process, right? Or we can say them.
Yes. Yes. So patents on algorithms would come under process. And we
But
can see where we can improve them, how we can analyze them. So today we will look at how to analyze algorithms, how to analyze flows. So we will define different kinds of operations and we will look into that. Yes, Khalid.
no, okay, so
Okay. So a quick overview. So function analysis of processes. In this, we make a function model for the process. Okay. The model includes function contribution of each operation and corresponding costs. So costs could be in terms of time, and it could also be in terms of resources that you are using. For example, if you think of it in terms of software programs, then it could be execution time, but it can also be, for example, the kind of memory that it requires and so on. Okay. Then we will look at operations and we will rank functions based on or operations based on their overall value and functionality. Okay. And through this, just like in function model for products, we will look at or identify operations that are good for trimming or can be targeted for trimming. And just like we had rules of trimming for products, there are rules of trimming for processes. Okay. So I would say that rules of trimming for software is an interesting research area. A lot of research on TRIZ is happening in this domain. And if there is interest in people, we could actually take up mini projects like as independent studies or capstone projects or stuff like that over evolving TRIZ for such methods, for process analysis and trimming and process analysis. Okay. So let's, I'm changing the approach a bit over here. Let's take a case study and then we will look at how the process steps and stuff fits into this case study and how to utilize that. Okay. So we're looking at this process, which is called as reheat and blow process. So how many of you have tasted Pepsi, Fruity, or some such stuff that comes in bottles, through bottles? I assume everyone? Anyone who has not ever tasted or drunk stuff from these plastic bottles where Fruity and Coca-Cola and Thumbs Up and all that stuff is packaged? Anyone? Okay, so all of you know these bottles. But you know, these bottles are actually, you know, these small pellets. They are just these small pellets in the beginning stage. So it is these small pellets that finally get converted into bottles that you drink your soda from. And we were looking at, today we will look at this process of converting these pellets into your bottles, where you get to drink cola from. So the first step is injection molding, where raw plastic material is put into a funnel, into a machine, and you send it into a mold cavity and you make some quick molds. Then, hello. Yeah. Then what you do is you create preforms. So while a full-fledged bottle would look this big, the preform of the bottle is this small, very, very small. The only thing that is correctly formed and does not change later from the preform bottle to the final bottle is the neck and the threads, the threading of the cap there. This part is fully defined. This doesn't change subsequently, but the remaining bottle is just a very small, thin tube. Okay. Why is it done like that? Because they are easy to ship. So they're easy to move around, they're easy to transport from one factory to another, and so on. So these PET parisons or preforms are then transported into a facility where they are bottled, where the full bottle is made, to the final bottling plants. And then the next step is unscrambling, because you get them in a big what do you say, sack or something, or a big trolley. They simply dump all the parisons there, and they need to be organized ताकि आपकी machine के flow में वो काम कर सकें. So unscrambling of the parison bottle is the next step. Then these parison bottles are taken into these molds, and so you see the neck and the thread part is out of it, but the remaining part goes in, and then a stretch rod or is put. The system is heated. The air over there is blown. The system is heated. The parison slowly expands and takes the shape of the bottle. Once that has been done, once the bottle has been cooled, the final shape has been handled, the mold is removed. Okay, and you have the finished bottle with you. So the mold is cold. So when we want to remove the mold, it has to be cooled quickly, because we do not want the mold to be removed from around a hot bottle, because if the plastic is still hot and you remove the mold, it can lose its shape. So quickly, cooling has to be done. And then there could be some extra pieces of excess plastic here and there, which need to be cut off, removed, so that the bottle remains stable, it can stand, and so on. So things like that are to be ensured. So that trimming needs to be done, and that is when you finally have the bottle with you. So there are these 7 steps involved. Okay. Now there is a problem in this process. The problem is that when this PET is heated beyond 115 degrees Celsius and then quenched, cooled very quickly, the molecules of the PET have enough freedom to form crystals. Okay, and this leads to whitening of the bottles. So जो आप transparent bottle देखते हैं, that no longer remains transparent, it kind of whitens up if this quenching is done too fast, or if things are not done properly. So that is one problem. Then this trimming, the requirement of trimming. So this is not the trimming of trays. This is the trimming as they call it in this process, which is cutting out the extra plastic from around the bottle so that the bottle is stable and it can be stored easily and all that. So this trimming is something that you don't want to do. It's an exercise that shouldn't be avoided in the first place, is it not? So if you can avoid it somehow, a lot of cost would be saved, because trimming or this final shaping does not really add value to the content, the capacity of the bottle, and takes time, energy, and resources. In fact, as a part of this trimming, when one is trying or working on trimming the bottle, making it in a good shape, a few bottles actually puncture. So we need to do something about this aspect also. Okay, so these are the problems that we have with this RBM process, and we need to remove these problems. Okay, so one thing that you should notice over here is that while I defined the process to you, I also gave you a clear idea of the problem that I need to solve. This you have to do. If you just look at a patent and say that, okay, this is the patent, now what? Or this is the flow, now what? So identify where is the problem there and solve that problem. So first, see, this is the part of problem identification stage. Flow analysis, function analysis, all these are part of problem identification stage. So when you do function modeling, if you do not highlight the problem in that engineering system, when you do flow analysis, if you do not highlight the problem in that engineering system, that flow, the entire exercise is waste. because it will not lead you to a solution. आपको problem ही नहीं पता तो किस चीज का solution निकालोगे आप? So now we will look at how to do the function analysis of the system. So just like in function analysis of products, we have two stages: component analysis, then we have interaction matrix to see where the functions are defined, interaction matrix, and then function modeling. Over here also we have component analysis and then function modeling. Over here, a stage like interaction matrix is not defined because there is already a sequence. We know that this step happens, then this step happens, then this step happens. So there is a connection that is already there, the interaction that is already defined as a part of the process flow. So there is no separate step called interaction analysis or interaction matrix over here. So there are two key stages: component analysis and then directly function modeling. The functions or the processes are defined as useful functions and harmful functions, just like we had them in the product functions. However, for the useful functions, over there we had things like basic, additional, and auxiliary. Remember? Over here, the function type is different. We have productive functions, we have providing functions, and we have corrective functions. So trimming of this bottles, the extra plastic around the bottles, for example, is clearly a corrective function. You did something, there was some error, some defect that was there, and you had to remove that defect. So that is a correcting function. Providing functions are of three types: supporting functions, transport functions, and measurement functions. Okay, we'll look at all these types of useful functions and how to identify which function is which in the next slides. Okay. Any questions still here?
Yes, sir. I had a question. If the problem identification basically would be, I think, based on imagination, because the patent that we would read would be highlighting what problem they are solving and what problem what they have. So is it only imagination to find the problem?
So it might be imagination for now, Ritvik. But in reality, the tools that we are talking about are not for just academic sake. TRIZ is a very, very powerful process. And as we saw when I introduced, in that session on 10th of February, I think, where I introduced TRIZ, so many organizations and companies use TRIZ. So when as an engineer in a company or when as an entrepreneur in your organization, you will apply TRIZ, you would very well know where the problem is it not? Because you're talking about your algorithms.
Yes, sir.
So it's not imaginary then. It may be imaginary today. In fact, that was one very important reason or one key reason why I said that identify a problem in your area of specialization, so that it does not take imagination to see where the problem is. That was the main reason why I said, there was a section in the one of the assignments as to which faculty would you discuss this problem with. Yaad hai? So that you can reach out to those mentors to discuss that I am working on this problem in this particular course, and I made this algorithm. I don't am with my level of expertise, I do not see where the problem is. Can you help me? So if you want to just imagine, you can imagine. But from where I am looking at it, I have been prompting you to actually look at problems from an expert's eye. Either you are the expert or I have helped you identify experts in your domain so that you can reach out to them and interact with them and identify the real problems there. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So whether you use that resource or not, that is upon your proactiveness, that is upon your resourcefulness, that is upon your enterprising nature. But at least from my end, I have been prompting you to do that. And I assume all my students are smart enough to look at those prompts and understand why these prompts are there. Yeah, nahi? So I have full faith in my students that they are smart. I don't want you to prove me wrong. Okay. So any other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rajni.
Sir, what is the difference between harmful function and corrective function? Like,
So harmful function would be the function or would be the step which led to that extra plastic coming out. That is a harmful function.
okay.
Corrective function is correcting that the impact of that harmful function.
Sir,
Corrective function is a useful function. You need to correct. It's required. Harmful function was not required. It just happened, and it created a defect.
okay. So, sir, like increasing temperature is a harmful function, and correcting that temperature level is like corrective function.
No. Why do you say so? If I talk of a steel molding plant, then increasing temperature is a very useful function because it is only after heating that I will be able to mold anything.
So, like after a certain level of temperature, like 115 degrees Celsius, then it will be harmful, and like correcting that temperature and bringing up to this level is corrective.
No. So increasing temperature, I would still say, is a supportive function. So we'll just look at the definition because increase in temperature is a requirement of the system.
Oh, okay, sir.
Harmful function is that there is this function where extra plastic is poured in, and therefore it squeezes out of the or the the mold is not clamped properly. So there are pores and there are places from which it can squeeze out, and therefore there is a defect.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So, as I said, there are two major categories of functions: useful functions and harmful functions. Functions that are needed, for example, heating. जैसा अभी रजनी ने पूछा, heating is a function which is useful. Without heating, you will not be able to do this molding at all. So, heating is a useful function. But functions that introduce temporary or permanent defects in the product are harmful functions. Okay. We just looked at the visual classification of these three kinds of functions. So productive function is a useful function that brings about an irreversible change in the product parameters. And the changes brought about by this function are prominent in the end product. For example, in this particular example, the function of forming the bottle is a productive function. Because the shape of the bottle is what you define in that blow heat process, and that is a productive function. That shape remains. In your algorithms, for example, if suppose the algorithm was a sort algorithm and your sorted list is the output, then this sorting part, moving things up and down, is the productive function. What other things you may do? For example, you may club your database or tag your database or all those things. They are not productive functions because finally आपने एक sorted list देनी है, आपने internally कैसे tag करा, क्या करा, that doesn't matter. But because the sorted list comes out, so sorting is a productive function there. Providing functions are of three types: supporting, transport, and measurement. So what are supporting functions? Supporting functions are like heating. अभी हमने जो देखा, for example, we heated the plastic pellets and plastic pellets nahi, partisans. We heated the partisans and blowed hot air into it. So that is a supporting function. In this particular photo, what I am showing is there's a metal rod which needs to be heated. So this is one thing that MTech students might remember, but BTech students of IIIT Delhi, I say you guys are missing. So when we were doing our BTech, we used to go into these workshops where we did this forging. So this is a photo of a forging being done, where we would heat the iron and actually then hammer it and give it shape. And if you do that, you realize that if you do not heat the iron, you need to make many strokes of hammer on it. But when you have the iron as hot, you're able to change its shape easily. So heating in both these cases is a supportive function. Providing function for example, is like transport function, where when you transport one material from one place to another, or for example, the conveyor belt over here. So this is a type of providing function. Transport functions are type of providing functions which are anywhere. Even if you have a startup which is to deliver food, for example, or deliver anything to your customers, there is a transport mechanism involved. That transport could be internet, that transport could be physical, that transport could be whatever, but there is transport function almost in every endeavor that we take up. Okay, in every industrial endeavor, there is a transport function. Then measurement function. Measurement functions are, as the name suggests, are about measuring temperature or different parameters, ki hardness kitna hai, brittle kitna hai, pressure kitna hai, all those things. You measure different parameters of the objects and say that, okay, now sufficient action has been done, no more action is needed. For example, when you talk of it in terms of circuits, then okay, I have a charge pump where I am raising the voltage. So I continuously measure as to what is the final voltage. I continuously compare and I tell that, okay, now no more pumping of charge is needed. So measurement functions are also required, and you will see that most of your processes would also have measurement functions in it. Especially when you're talking about, forget about too far away. When you talk of your apps, suppose you make an app, or when you're making an operating system. So you have to see what kind of loading is happening on your CPU, so that you can then, it's a multi-core system. So you have to continuously measure the load on various CPUs and then redistribute your activities onto different CPUs and so on. So there is measurement that is happening day in and day out in so many places in our environment. So measurement functions are also providing functions, because they help us take the decisions on how to do or what next steps to take. Corrective functions. So Rajni was confused with corrective function is also a harmful function. No, corrective function is a useful function directed at a defect, at removing the defect, so that the product meets the specifications and the expectations of the user. So for example, for welded products, you need polishing. For bottles, we did trimming and so on. So these are all corrective functions. Okay. Now, how to do the function analysis? We can have this kind of a template where we first talk of the operation as to what is the operation. Then all the functions performed within the operation are listed. Then the category of those functions, whether it is productive, providing, or corrective. Category is useful and harmful. And then type, whether it is for harmful functions, it's a harmful function, you need to eliminate it. For useful functions, you look at whether it is productive, providing, or corrective. For providing, you further add the detail of whether it is transport or supportive or measurement function. Okay. Then you talk about the level of performance, normal, insufficient, excessive, and then you talk about cost. Okay. So these are the labels you can use, you can decide to use to define your categories and functions. So over here, for example, if we now look at the RBM process again, injection molding, it's a useful function. So what does it do? The plastic pellets are plasticized, and once they are made plasticized, that is the way they are in the end also. Right? They do not come back into the shape of pellet. So this is a productive function. Then creation of preforms, plastic injected into parafins. Now this is an intermediate function. The final bottle doesn't look like this. So this is a providing function, but it is a supportive function because it makes the final blow heating easier. You can then do things on this. Parafins are shipped to the bottling site. That is a transport function, easy to understand. They are oriented, unscrambling wala part. that again is a transport function. Then the blow and stretch of Parisons, that is a productive function. Cooling the bottle and the mold, that is again a productive function, because finally the bottle is cold. You do not get hot, steaming hot bottles when you purchase Thumbs Up or Coca-Cola. Then trimming the excess plastic or separating it from the mold and all that, separating two different bottles from one another, that is a corrective function. So you will notice that I have put I over here in the cooling of the bottle and the mold, because something is happening over here which led to that haze happening. You remember? So something happened due to that haze, due to which that haze was coming. So we need to do something about it. So now we have a view of what kind of functions are there in the system, and what is the kind of cost that each one of them has. For example, correction is a high cost operation, because you have to pick up each bottle, you have to inspect it, you have to remove the extra plastic, then you have to put it back into the flow. So that's a high cost activity, might also be involving humans in it. So something should be done, and it's a corrective step. So if we can trim it, if we can do something about it, that would be very nice, but we will see. Okay, so the cost has also been put. So now we will do trimming for processes, just like we did trimming for products. But before that, are there any questions till now on the function modeling part? No questions? So either everything is understood or nothing is understood. I hope everything is understood. Should I move forward? Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we look at trimming for processes. Just like we did trimming for products, what did we do? We identified functions. We had ranked those functions. We identified functions which should be trimmed or components that should be trimmed. So यहाँ पे हम components को trim करते हैं. The components that should be trimmed, and then we assigned their functions to someone else. Over here in processes, we would trim operations, and the useful functions of those operations we would need to assign to some other operation. See, every operation, for example, even that cooling operation had a harmful function where the pellets were where the hazing happened, or the blow heat function had a useful function of the plastic taking the shape of the mold, but it also had a harmful function somewhere where the extra plastic would sneak out and needs to be removed later. So we need to look at the useful functions in any operation, and we need to give those useful functions or assign those useful functions, redistribute those useful functions in the other operations in the process. Okay. So again, they can be identified through various methods, including cause-effect chain analysis over here also, and value analysis. And there are rules. There are rules of trimming operations with different kinds of functions, and so the most important functions that you would want to keep are productive functions, then supportive functions, transport functions, then measurement functions, and corrective functions are the least important functions. You want to get done with them at the earliest. Corrective functions की need ही नहीं होनी चाहिए. So if you can somehow remove operations that have a corrective function, you will save costs. So let us look at the rules of trimming. So a productive function can be trimmed if the object of the analyzed function is eliminated from a system, or the necessity to perform the analyzed function is eliminated, or the analyzed function is transferred to the preceding or subsequent operation. So the rules A and B See, you will start to see rules A and B coming into picture when you do radical trimming kind of operations. Okay. If you're not doing radical trimming, rule C is something that is the most handy of them, where the previous step or the subsequent step, can we somehow manage it in that? Can we manage for the productive function be taken up later or earlier? And then you can do away with the operation. Okay. Then, so we'll come back to the RBM example and see which functions are which and how to trim them. We will apply trimming and these rules over there. So operation requiring the supporting function is trimmed, then we can trim the supporting function. We just operation के लिए आप supportive function कर रहे थे, जब वो ही नहीं बचा, then the supporting function can also be trimmed. Or the operation is modified in such a way that it no longer needs the support. For example, if I've changed the materials with which I made the design, or if I've changed the way my data is organized or data is populated, or I receive the data, then it may happen that I do not even require the supporting function. If the supported function does the job by itself, for example, this is something that you will see very frequently in TRIZ, that we say that self-service happens. So the system takes care of itself. So if the supported function can itself take care of itself, so that it doesn't require the supporting function now. Or the common thread that the supporting function is transferred to the previous or the subsequent step. Okay. So when would you want to trim an operation? When an operation has a harmful function in it. Now, when you're trimming an operation with a harmful function, there could be some supporting function or some productive function in there. So that is where we are talking of all this stuff. Okay. You may also want to trim functions which have operations which have low value but high cost. So either a harmful function, a harmful operation with a harmful function, or a function which has low value associated with it. Value का formula याद है आपको? What is value? We discussed value when we talked about main parameter of value. What is value? भूल गए? Yes, it is the functionality upon cost. That is the value. So if the value is less, if the functionality it is offering is much lower than the cost that we are paying for it, then again you would want to trim a function. So a transport function can be trimmed if, again, the object of the analyzed function, जिस भी चीज को आप transport कर रहे हो, जब वही नहीं बची system में, that's been trimmed, then that transport function is also not required. Or the components between which the object of a function moves are eliminated from the system. For example, in our case, when we were moving partisans from one place to another, if the partisans are made in the bottling plant itself, then you don't need to transport it in that manner. The partisans are made and they are directly put in the thing.
Sir, my question is, can we trim the process can we trim the process in which we can transfer its functionality to some other processes? मतलब here कि initial beginning में हम pallets बना रहे हैं, sorry, वो neck बना रहे हैं, neck को transport कर रहे हैं. Can't we make the neck where bottle is molded? Why there is a transportation?
While the transportation is happening, molding the neck at that time.
Yeah.
Can be thought of. We will see another example today where we exactly do the same thing.
Okay.
So it may not be feasible in this particular bottle wala example, but I will just share with you an example where we do exactly the same thing. We do some action while the system is being the objects are being transported. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anything else? So Khalid, you're asking in a patent, how can we come to this value thing? Again, you know what the value of, or what are the functions that a component in a system is performing. So you know the functions. And if you are a designer or whatever patent you have picked up, again, I insisted that, or I suggested that you pick up a patent in your area of expertise. You would have a view of cost. If you do not have a view of cost, you can talk to your advisor or a mentor, and he or she can give you a view of the cost, and therefore you can estimate the value. Is that okay? So transport functions again can be trimmed if somehow the transporting activity is transferred to the preceding or subsequent operation. So while you could put something onto the transport function when you are trimming a supportive function or a productive function, you can also trim a transport function by giving the activity of transportation to the supporting function itself. Okay, so that can also be done. Then measurement function can be trimmed, easily trimmed if measurement is what is the final output. So if measurement is not really of value, for example, you're reporting something to someone, but that person is not even looking at that report. So trim the report. Don't send the report. Just have a 5 minutes weekly and done. So measurement function can be eliminated like that. And another way to eliminate the measurement function is, for example, by creating the context or the environment such that measurement is no longer required. And how many of you have heard about Curie point? Curie point. What is Curie point?
Where the functionality start changing of the material at a temperature. Yes, ferroelectric to, I forget the exact thing, but
Okay. So Curie point is a temperature above which a component or a material is no longer magnetic.
Yeah.
So these magnetic materials, iron, cobalt, nickel, all of them have a very high Curie point, more than 300-400 degrees Celsius. So at room temperature, they have magnetic properties. But if you go to a temperature higher than that, there is no longer this magnetic property, and the system and the component is no longer magnetic. Okay. So for example, and by making alloys, so that is alloys also you studied in your 11th 12th class. Everyone has studied alloys 11th 12th class.
Yes, sir.
And you also saw those transition diagrams in 11th and 12th, where a system or an alloy transitions from one stage to another state and so on. याद है आपको? At least vaguely याद है? You remember कुछ करा था कभी?
बहुत vaguely.
Okay, good enough. Good enough. So when you make alloys, what happens? For example, solder is an alloy. I assume many of you would have done some DIY projects, soldered stuff and done that. So solder is an alloy of lead and tin. And what happens in this alloy, the temperature of soldering or the melt temperature is very low, because that is the way the alloy is. So alloys are made of different materials so that the Curie point of the alloy can be tuned exactly the way you want it to be. Okay. So if suppose there is a process where you want to measure temperature and you want to stop heating after that, so you could have a switch for your heater which has a component of this material which has a Curie point of equivalent to that temperature. As soon as that temperature is reached, this material is no longer magnetic, and आपका जो switch है उसके ऊपर जो component connected था वो गिर जाएगा. So the switch opens, no more heating happens. As the temperature falls, it again becomes magnetic and it goes and turns the switch on again. So it falls, it goes up, it falls, it connects again. So heating will continue to happen whenever the temperature falls below the desired point, but it will never let the heating continue beyond the desired temperature. Are you with me? So if you can modify the system in such a manner, then you don't need measurements at all. Similarly, for example, you have a FIFO. If you have an overflow flag in a FIFO, then you don't need to measure how many reads happened, how many writes happened. The overflow flag will tell you that, okay, the overflow has happened. If you have a ready output, then you don't need to measure how much time has elapsed. The ready output will tell you that the time that, okay, now I can latch my outputs. So all these mechanisms, all these things, for example, are ways where the measurement function can be trimmed or has been trimmed. Are you able to see this? Because it changed the context. Are you able to see this? Any questions on this? So मैंने दो कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री क्वेश्चंस पूछे थे. एनी क्वेश्चंस ऑन दिस टॉपिक? उसका आंसर नो हो सकता था. दूसरा पूछा था कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं तो बताओ. तो अगर उसका आंसर नो नहीं है तो यू शुड बी आस्किंग सम क्वेश्चन, अदरवाइज यू शुड बी आंसरिंग नो. I don't know what to make out of silence.
So, I mean, it's pretty clear, the explanation.
Okay. So, trimming rules for operations with corrective functions. See, corrective functions, I already said they are something that you really don't want to do. है ना? सारा काम हो गया, अब आप corrections करो तो that is first, पहले काम करते हुए there was some effort that was wasted. Second, now you are wasting or putting effort in removing a defect. So a corrective function can be trimmed if the operation that generated the defect has been eliminated. For example, let us say that the measurement function, आपको temperature measure करने के लिए thermometer dip करना था, and that thermometer, that temperature measurement का step आपने हटा दिया, so now there is no longer that defect that can happen. So since that thing has been removed, now corrective function is no longer required. Or the operation that generated the defect is changed in such a way that it does not generate the defect any longer. For example, the defect essentially was that you had to put the thermometer in there, and that led to some defect on the surface. Now, since the thermometer is not required to be put, the defect does not appear at all. So again, you can eliminate. The operation that generates the defect is changed in such a way that it starts generating the defect with another set of parameters. So see, in this RBM process, why is extra plastic a defect? In this RBM process, where we are making those bottles, molding those bottles, why is extra plastic a defect?
So I didn't understand the question, sir.
So bottle can be of unequal sizes if they are extra plastics.
Yeah, it can be unstable. So my question, Aditya, was that we say that this extra plastic is a defect. Why is it a defect? Because we don't want it, because it impacts the functionality and it impacts the stability of the bottle and so on. If somehow, instead of this extra plastic coming out, for example, soaps, you use soaps, glycerin soaps. In glycerin soaps, they are translucent soaps and you can see what is there inside. And one of the defects that glycerin soap manufacturers try to eliminate is bubbles inside the soap. See, if you have bubble inside a regular soap, you will not even notice it. It is not visible to you. So it is not a defect. Same thing. The bubbles are a defect in a glycerin soap, but they are not a defect in regular soap because the parameter is safe. It is not visible to the user. But in the glycerin soap, the defect is visible to the user. So if we can change the operation in such a way that the defect is no longer a defect, it is safe. Even if there are bubbles inside a regular Lifebuoy soap, you will not even know. You will purchase the soap. Anyways, you have covered the soap with paper, but you will purchase the soap and you will never know that there was a defect at all. In a glycerin soap, as soon as you uncover the soap, you will see, oh, there is a bubble in there. Now, an interesting way is, if I start to say that I have a bubble glycerin soap. So I introduce bubbles instead of trying to remove the defect. I say that, okay, I will change my process in such a way that the bubbles remain there, and I start to sell my soap as a bubble soap. So again, I've changed the defect and kind of made it useful. So that is also one way of trimming, or one way of trimming the corrective function. आपने जो defect था उसी की definition ही हटा दी. You've made, there is this idiom na, that when life throws lemons at you, make lemonade. So that's what you've done. So now the corrective step is no longer required. There was a question?
It's like changing the problem statement, right?
Yeah, so you're bypassing the problem statement altogether. The problem is no longer there now. That's a neat way to solve, na?
So my question is, my question is, earlier the bubble is the defect, but right now we deliberately include the bubble. Then we have one extra process in between, so creating bubble in between, or it,
no. See, bubbles. Okay, so in the soap making process, you anyway stir the soap and bubbles get formed. You actually take time to let the bubbles go away. You let this soap mixture, the liquid mixture, settle so that the bubbles go away. Now you will not wait for it to settle. You will simply let the froth be in. But you are removing the corrective function, and you are adding a productive function, if at all. See, where that froth and letting the froth settle down was a providing function. So because it is the froth or the bubbles were no longer supposed to be visible in the final product, you made that providing function into a productive function. And you're marketing, you're making it a useful function. You're marketing based on that bubbles wala soap and selling it to children, for example. And every soap is unique then. So no, Abhijit, measuring functions and corrective functions are not necessarily interrelated. Measuring functions are related to corrective functions, but measuring functions are also related to supportive and productive functions. Because even, for supportive function, for example, the heating example that I took, that you heat and then this thermometer, then this electromagnet, the Curie point is reached, this magnet drops off, then again you heat and then this drops off, and so on. So over there, this heating is a supportive function. It is not, this measurement or this temperature measurement was never linked to corrective functions there. It was linked to a supportive function there.
So then again, how do we know how much to correct if we don't measure it?
Yeah, so for correction, you will have to measure, but you will need to measure for many other things.
Okay.
So to say that measurement and corrective functions are always linked, that is not true. That is what I'm telling. Okay. So there are all these rules of how to eliminate the corrective function, and you can remove corrective functions also. So now we come to the RBM process. We do a value analysis of the process, and we say that, okay, how much time or energy is expended in different functions. So we see, okay, injection molding, the cost is very high, but it is also very high functional significance. It's a productive function. And finally, आपको प्लास्टिक की ही बॉटल चाहिए, पेट पेलेट से तो कुछ नहीं काम चलेगा. Creation of preforms or partisans, it's a very low cost function. You make them very, very quickly, and the functional significance is very important, because the head and the cap functionality is established over here. And even though it's not a productive function, it's a very useful function for us. So the functional significance is very high. Stretch blow molding, again, very high significance, because that is the final shape of the bottle, but it's also very high cost. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy. Cooling happens quickly, low cost, but important. The way cooling happens, it has to be done carefully, otherwise this hazing problem that we discussed, which is the problem we need to take care of, So that thing would happen. And ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ऑफ पैरिसन्स लो कॉस्ट, कन्वेयर बेल्ट पे डाल दिया, मूव कर जाएंगे. अनस्क्रैम्बलिंग पैरिसन्स कुछ भी नहीं करना है आपको, बस एक रोटेटिंग उसमें डाल देना है एंड अपने आप हो जाएगा. सो लो कॉस्ट, लो फंक्शनल सिग्निफिकेंस, दे डोंट ऐड any functional value also to the final product. So they come in this quadrant. So looking at this, for quadrant 1, the production, the operations are transportation of parasons, unscrambling parasons. Quadrant 2, creation of preforms and cooling, so carriers of trimmed functions. So the rules are, for example, that functions that need to be removed are these ones in this quadrant, the quadrant 4, where the value is low but cost is high. And even these functions, if you can somehow trim them, or reduce their cost in some way, that is what is desirable, because they are high cost, but they are useful. So you cannot simply remove them. But this one you simply want to eliminate. Functionality khas hai nahi and lot of cost involved. So that's why we are analyzing them in this table over here. If we can somehow reduce the cost of injection molding and stretch blow molding, that is what we are looking at. That is what we desire. Trimming, we have to simply eliminate. So, and when we eliminate this trimming, we have to see these, functions in quadrant 2 as carriers of those trimmed functions, or even functions in quadrant 1 can be made as carriers of the trimmed functions, so that the overall value that these functions in quadrant 1 add, that can go up. They can go up to quadrant 2. Okay. So in this case, what we do is we apply trimming rule B for operation with the corrective function, which says that the operation with the corrective function can be trimmed if the operation that generates the defect is changed in such a way that the defect is not generated any longer. So transfer to the productive function of improving cooling. So अगर आप cooling को improve कर दो, तो hazing नहीं होगी. That was what the problem was. So if you can improve the cooling, make that function better, then you will not have hazing. So once hazing has not happened, there is no corrective action required for hazing. So hello. Yeah. So we started to analyze the system, and we saw that in the typical system, the cooling agent, the coolant, used to move like this. So what happened? So this is the bottle. This bottle would be like this. The coolant would move like this. So the cooling would happen at one pace in this region and at a different pace in this region. So there is a different defect density that you will see here versus here. So what is done is, instead of having a straight cooling channel, you have a cooling channel which follows, or which is the same contour as the mold. And through this, cooling is more uniform. And the PET crystals that are formed, there is no need for them to move around now, because har taraf hi equal cooling ho rahi hai. Since the crystals don't move around, no hazing happens. Over here, this part was hot. Crystals would move from here into the cold space, and therefore there would be hazing happening. Now, since the crystals would cool simultaneously in all the different parts of the bottle, the hazing is removed. Okay? So we've removed the corrective actions linked to hazing of bottles by changing your process at the that was in the quadrant 2, the supporting function you have changed. Okay. So this is about trimming process. So different materials were studied. For example, tooth steel, stainless steel, beryllium copper, and so on. And they were observed and they were studied to see which material would have the least part warpage. And therefore, you change the mold material, and it makes a massive difference. The warpage is so much lesser and you can cool faster also with these 3 materials versus the first 2. So you change the material with which you will do the mold, make the mold, and you can significantly speed up the cooling process and prevent warpage. Okay, so the trimming thing can also be removed by changing the function there, the molding function there. Okay, so yeah, this is the same thing, that how far away from the channel does the coolant move. This slide should have come a little earlier, but yeah, if you change that, then what happens is that your coolant moves comfortably across the board, and no warpage and no hazing happens. Let's quickly take another example, and then we will take a break. Okay, so all of you have eaten cakes or muffins or stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
So we'll look at that process today. So all of us, I can't say all of us, but many of us, at least I love cakes. So, but the cakes take a lot of time in baking, and the process is slow. So till the time I have to make just 1 cake at my home, and just for myself, I'm happy with whatever the process is. But if I am a cake making company, or a company that makes cake at a large scale, then the productivity of this cake is an important topic of interest for me. So we need to look at this cake making process as a company that is making these cakes. So first, productivity is low. Second, if you've made a cake ever yourself, you will see that these kind of defects start to appear. Have you noticed? Has anyone baked cakes at home or
Yes.
seen? Yeah. So you've seen such kind of defects happening?
Yes, sir.
So you don't want either to happen, है ना? Because finally, if you have to sell a cake, जब खुद खाना है तो चल जाता है, but when you are trying to sell it to a customer, this doesn't look good. So you need to do something about it. So we need to do something such that these disadvantages of the cake making process are taken care of. So that's the goal of the process: improve the productivity and eliminate the defects. So let's look at the various operations involved in the process. So we make the batter, fill the batter in the mold, put it in the conveyor belt, bake, remove the cake from the mold, eliminate defects, and then decorate, and then we sell. So
सर माय क्वेश्चन इज कि जो अभी डिफेक्ट हम देख रहे थे वो तो अगर डेकोरेशन के बाद तो वो हाइड हो जाएगा, तो फिर वो इतना बड़ा इशू क्यों है?
सो वो डिफेक्ट हाइड हो जाएगा, क्रैक हाइड हो जाएगा, लेकिन अगर केक बनाया है बिलाल तो आपने ध्यान दिया होगा जहाँ पे भी ये क्रैक्स आते हैं उसके बाउंड्री पे, एज पे वो केक हार्ड हो जाता है।
श्योर सर।
तो टेस्ट करते हुए तो आ जाएगा, है ना? So it still is a defect and we would want to eliminate that defect, है ना? So now we do the function modeling. We say what is the operation? Preparation. Okay, preparation mein there are 2 kinds of functions. First, measure the amount of each ingredient to be used. So measurement function, normal. Mixing all the ingredients. Okay, useful function and productive. On this table, I have not put the cost here, but we can also put the cost in terms of time it takes. That makes it easier if you do the function analysis later. If you do the MPV based analysis, you have to put the cost there. If you do not do that MPV based analysis, the cost is not required. So then filling, where you do the greasing, which is the providing function, putting the batter in there and that mold, because that's a productive function, because the batter would finally take that shape, look like that. Transporting, putting it on the conveyor belt. Again, baking means measuring and heating the cake in the oven so that it leavens up, it rises. Then separate the cake from the mold, slice out the uneven surface of the cake, corrective action, and then garnishing of the cake. That is a productive function, because that is what finally the customer will also see. So if you put them in that analysis, so even the cost was not put there, we can see the cost thing over here, where baking is very high functional significance. अगर baking में हल्का सा भी खराब हुआ तो cake खराब हो गया. Very high functional significance, but also very high cost. A lot of time is spent in baking. Major part of the cake making process is baking only. Batter तो बन जाएगा, but then baking के लिए you have to wait for that time. Then preparation also is high functional significance, but low cost, because आपने कैसा material prepare करा, that is important. Removing functional significance नहीं है, but उसकी cost बहुत है. If you've made the cake, if you've made a cake yourself, you will realize that removing a cake takes time. And if you do not do it carefully, you do not do it well, what happens? The cake breaks. Has it happened with any one of you? A few people said they have baked cakes, huh? Yeah. So you know that the cake would break. If you do not remove it carefully, the cake would break and सारी मेहनत पे पानी फिर जाएगा. So this removing part is also very important, but not important, but has to be done carefully. There's a high cost involved there. Now, there is this supportive function, heat the cake in the oven, where we do the baking part. Can we somehow trim it? Because it is the most time consuming step. So we say that, look at the rules, we say that, okay, a supporting function can be trimmed if the operation requiring the supporting function is trimmed. तो heating तो करनी है, baking तो करनी है, baking को तो मैं trim कर नहीं सकता, baking से ही तो cake rise होगा. The supported operation is changed so that it doesn't require any support now. So somehow bake अपने आप हो जाए, मतलब वो अपने आप rise हो जाए, पता नहीं, अभी तो नहीं पता. Supporting operation performs the supporting operation itself. Okay, cake batter अपने आप को heat कर दे और rise होना शुरू हो जाए. Okay, I can use yeast and more amount of yeast there to do something about it, but that would make it still longer process. Or the analyzed supporting function is transferred to the preceding or subsequent operation. Okay, this is something where we could find an answer, because बाकी सब चीजों के लिए मेरे को technology में significant change करना पड़ सकता है, but D को implement करने के लिए technology change may not be required. So what is the function preceding this baking part or after the baking part? If you remember, the function over there was transportation, put it into the oven. So if we can somehow heat the cake in the transportation step itself, while transporting, if I can heat the cake, that is great. And I'm sure this kind of a solution you must have seen in many places today. Have you seen such stuff where you load the pizza from one side and it comes out from the other fully made? शादियों में you must have seen. Otherwise, even at Domino's or some other places, you will go and you will see this is how it is done. So the thing is moving from one part of the shop to the other, and in that conveyor belt itself, it is getting baked. Have you seen this? Hello? Okay. So you should go to Domino's outlet and sneak into their kitchen. They will not let you, but in small cities, for example, I was traveling last week, so I happened to visit Domino's outlet outside of Delhi, and incidentally, there was no curtain between the person who was taking orders and the kitchen behind, and it was pretty evident and visible that the खुद ये machine वहाँ लगी हुई है. Otherwise, in marriages, you must have seen these marriages में जब Domino's वाले they put up a stall or some pizza maker puts up a stall, they have this kind of a machine there also. Some of you have not noticed this? Okay. So yeah, थोड़ा सा जुगाड़ लगा के you see, and you will see that this is the solution that is at least Domino's have seen. So this is what you can use for heating or baking while transporting from one part of the shop to another. So this is a very small model, but you could have big models where many pizzas and many cakes can actually be there, and the machine can be long, and it continues to move, and you get the baked product outside on the other side. Now the other function, separate out the cake from the mold. This is also high cost function, and worse, it is low value. So we want to trim this function. We want to eliminate this function. We want to make it much less time consuming because it has very low functional significance. So again, this is a transport function, and it can be eliminated if the need to transport is removed, or components between which the object of an analyze function moves are eliminated. Subsequent operations are changed in such a way that the necessity to perform the analyze function is eliminated, and so on. So if you've gone to a Pizza Hut, then you will notice that they actually serve you pizza on that in the pan itself. In a Pizza Hut outlet, if you don't ask for delivery, they will serve you pizza in the pan itself. They don't remove the pizza from the pan. Have you noticed? So I love pizza. So there are 2 examples of pizzas today. Huh? So yeah, so they serve it to you in the pan. Why? Because again, removing the pizza from the pan takes time and effort, and it's not required. आपको उसी में serve कर दिया, तो job done. You remove they are able to deliver the pizza on your table 1 minute earlier. You remove the pizza as you eat it. अपने आप ठंडा भी होता जाएगा in the time that the person is carrying the pan from the kitchen to your table. ठंडा भी हो जाएगा उतनी देर में, and you remove it at your pace. So it could be done like that. For the cake problem, what we do is we replace the normal mold with a spring form pan. Yeah, Neelam, it remains hot. That's another beautiful thing of not removing the pizza from the pan there. Yeah, so cake cools down in the pan, and at the time of serving, just remove the ring. For example, so this is how it is initially. आपने cake बनाया, and when you want to serve, you simply open this latch over here. It opens up. You remove the stuff. The base remains, but how does it matter? लोगों ने तो cake खाना है. They eat the cake, and the base remains. You can use the base in the next baking then. Okay. So again, the cost of the time of removing reduced very significantly. Are you able to see this? So we will not be doing any exercise on flow analysis or trimming of flow analysis per se, because I want you to focus on product analysis and your project. So we are breaking now. We will join back in, what do you say, 10 minutes, 12:40. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we join at 12:40, and then you guys go back into your breakout rooms and you work on your projects. We will visit your rooms, and if there are any questions, anything that you want us to review, even with the choice of project or anything, I would be happy to help you on all those topics. Okay.
So on projects, we have to apply the flow analysis that we have
No,
discussed.
that is your choice. So
Okay.
I have covered flow analysis. As I already mentioned, flow analysis is not usually covered in a beginner's course. I've covered flow analysis because we're all, engineers who work with flows and algorithms. Okay. Because we work with flows, I've covered it. I'm not even asking you to use it, but you should have the discernment to use it if you need. You should know it can be used when you need. I'm just offering you a tool. I'm not giving you even time to practice this yet. If you want to practice it in your projects, that is great. I will help you with that. But the project choice is independent of whether it involves a flow or not. The product choice, the project choice, I would again say, reiterate that choose a project where you can probably find a mentor or you yourself are an expert in it, so that if you need to apply principles, scientific principles, if you need to apply more contextual knowledge and finding solutions to the problems there, if you need to do anything of that sort, you have the necessary resources to do it. Okay? आप लोगों ने कल एक प्रोजेक्ट चूज करा है, आई नो दिस, बट इफ यू वांट टू रिव्यू दैट चॉइस, प्लीज रिव्यू. अभी तो काम शुरू करना है ना आज, so you can review that and you can choose a different project also amongst yourself as a group. I have also insisted and I have also suggested that projects or ideas, if they're proposed by the PhD students, and you have a PhD student in your group, it could be interesting and it could be good to choose that kind of an idea. Two reasons. First, the PhD student will continue to work on the project for a longer duration of time. And what that does is that, the pointers that you come up with now, the brainstorm that you do in this process, or the ideas that you generate in this class, they can actually lead to significant value add for that person's PhD degree, and you will be recognized in the thesis. If there are patents that are directly coming out of this idea, that are, then you can be co-inventors in that. So there will be all those possibilities if it is the PhD students' ideas that you pick up. Additionally, PhD students have so PhD students अगर पिज्जा मेकिंग का आइडिया दे रहे हैं तो वो आइडिया की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं मैं, बट इफ इट इज अ टेक्निकल आइडिया दैट इज रिलेटेड टू योर कॉमन फील्ड ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एंड एक्सपर्टीज. ओके, सो उस तरह के आइडिया को अगर आप चूज करेंगे, इट मे बी हेल्पफुल फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू. ओके, बट दैट इज no requirement. Okay, only if there is such an idea you use it. If there is no such idea, this is no binding. You choose something which you understand well, so that you can apply contextual knowledge also to the subject. It's a patent, great. It's not a patent, that is also fine. It's a product, that is also fine. See, you worked on patents and you worked on products. Both things you have worked on. You choose whatever you are most comfortable with, where you can be most enterprising, most resourceful as a group, not as an individual, as a group. Is that okay?
Fine, sir.
Yeah. So we take a break. We meet back at 12:40.
So one more request कि along with the videos अगर PPT भी share कर दे तो ज़्यादा अच्छा हो, क्योंकि वो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि कभी-कभी क्विक रिव्यू में वीडियोस बार-बार देखना पड़ता है, ये होता है.
Yeah, I know, Bilal, but the only challenge for this run of this course is that the PPT is under evaluation at Mattress. Okay. So until they evaluate and confirm, I am constrained not to share it. I'm sharing the recordings anyways. You can quickly scroll and move back and forth to see which all slides we covered. But probably next time on, I would be able to, but this run, I'm not able to. I'm constrained around that.
Okay, fine, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm pausing the recording and we are taking a break. We will join back at 12:40.